I, Arushi Nishank, come from the land of Uttarakhand और मैं आप सभी को बहुत बहुत नमस्कार और नमन करती हूँ. So yes, certainly when today we all have gathered here and after a COVID time, I think this is my also the first event, then certainly there must be something very important today we're going to talk and discuss. What are we going to talk and discuss today with me? I'll start with a very small exercise. So student, all of you are with me? Raise your hand who is with me. Great. So when we were small, few of them are still small, I can see that. But when we all were small, our teacher asked us to draw a beautiful portrait, a beautiful scenery. What all we were drawing that time. So let's start quickly with the exercise. Come on. Mountain. Yes, ma'am. Right. Mountains filled with? Wow, that's beautiful. And we had the blue? Rivers. We had green? Wow, so we all know we are on the same chapter. We had the beautiful birds flying. And I am sure all of us imagining this beautiful portrait when I was talking to you and asking you that what we were drawing in our mind. Now when portrait is that beautiful and we know that this will remain in our heart and mind for years and decades and centuries, then what is the problem? So now this is the problem. The mountain you have seen, the snow we are talking, that started to melt because of the global warming. There is a 0.07 degrees Celsius temperature rising up each decade since 1880. So we have mountains, but we do not have that snow. I talk about the Blue River. I am so sorry that in our scenery, we don't have a blue river now. Because if we talk about Gangaji, there is every single day 1.9 billion liter garbage has dumped into Gangaji. And if I talk about any river, any water bodies, that has been polluted to 80%. I talk next about the green plush trees we are talking, which gives us oxygen. That deforestation has started to happen. Every year, there are billion of trees, 7 billion trees has been cut down. I talk about next, the air pollution. Who knows better than us who are sitting in Delhi right now? We are wearing masks for the COVID right now. But before COVID, yes, there was a requirement for masks again. There are more than 2 million Indians every day who is dying because of this air pollution. I talk next about the water. We are talking about this beautiful scenery where we have a house, we have all the natural resources, we have clean drinking water, but unfortunately, there are 719 million people don't have access to clean drinking water. So my dear student, today when we talking about this, why it becomes so important? Why environment becomes so important? All of us, somebody want to be a doctor, somebody want to be an engineer. I tried so many things in my life, so I'll not talk about me right now. But yes, we have so many aspirations in our life, but nothing could work on until we do not have a clean drinking water, until we don't have this clean air to breathe, until we don't have green trees, until we don't have a clean food to eat. When we talk about the atmosphere, it becomes utmost important because this is a thing which is covering us from all over. We cannot survive out without this environment, my dear student and teachers. It becomes utmost important thing right now because we are into a very, very bad shape. I just talked about it. If I talk about the environment, and I just talked about Ma Gangaji, I will say it doesn't matter which religion we belong, which country we belong, which ideology we belong, because each and every one has talked about environment. So I am very sure that today all of us sitting here from different culture, from different religion, and we are thinking about, oh really, I don't think that I belong to my Gangaji. But I tell you, dear student, this Gangaji is not only a pratik of Shraddha, Astha and Shanti, but we're talking about the scientific and logical aspects also. This Ma Gangaji has a 40% of oxygen which is being given to many people. There 40 to 45 people are still surviving on bank of Gangaji. And forget about only Hindu culture. In each and every religion, we have given importance to environment. I'll start with the Hindu ideology. The first thing when our guests come to our home, what we offer? Come on. Oh wow. So yes, we know the importance. When we are eating food and we are trying to leave, we are planning to cheat in front of our parents and hiding some food, I'm sure all of our mother teachers कि खाना छोड़ने से पाप चढ़ता है. Wow, we know that. We know that in every auspicious occasion, whether it is a marriage, whether it is a puja or anything, we have given so much priority to all these 5 elements, which is water, air, earth. We are keeping water in our all of auspicious things. I talk about Bhagavad Gita. I'll give you a quote from Bhagavad Gita that advise not to try to change the environment, improve it or wrestle with it. According to the Islam also talked about the environment, and they said, according to Islam, people should realize their stay on earth is only temporary, that they shall all have to face the day of judgment if they choose to pollute the environment and do harm to living creature on earthly comfort. Believer in Holy Quran will face the terrible end. In Christianity also, they believe to save the humanity, to save this earth, we have to work in partnership. So my dear student, it doesn't matter that which religion we belong, environment has always been a very, very important part. Now we have talked enough about the problem. I'm not here to discuss problem because we all know that. I am here to discuss the solution of it. And you, the young people sitting here, you remind me of Hanuman, who has to cross Sagar and has to bring Ma Sita back to Bhagwan Shri Ram, and he didn't know about his caliber. He didn't know about his capability. And that very moment he has given a wake-up call. Unki counseling ki gayi thi. So my dear student, this is a time for each of and everyone sitting here for a small counseling and for a small wake-up call. This is what we are doing here. So again, I will share a small fact with you, which is very interesting, because when I was reading that thing into a news article, that really made me interesting to know it more and more. There was a mass suicide of sheep happened in country Turkey. We all know Turkey, right? So there are 500 sheep on the 200 meter of the cliff, and all of a sudden the whole world shook up because these 500 cattle just jumped from the cliff and they died. The whole village get into depression that what happened? How these 500 sheep died? Again, in the world news, in South Africa, there thousands of wildebeest died while crossing the river. Nobody could understand why it happened. And actually, dear student, when they started to find out that what happened, that 500 sheep just jumped from the cliff and died, we get to know that there was a bher chal. This is a very famous word in our Indian people, bher chal. Because when one sheep jumped from the cliff, others started to follow it. They don't know what is lying in front of them, but they just started to follow. The same thing happened in South Africa, where one wildebeest were crossing, others started to follow. My dear student, this is what we are doing right now. We just started to follow blindly everything. If your friend is throwing something into a garden or on the road, we say, "Arey, usne bhi to feka, main bhi fekungi." But we never say, "Agar usne ye kiya hai, to main usse rokungi ya rokunga." This attitude need to change. If this attitude will not change, there is no planet B. We have to survive on this planet. It is not necessary we going back to the same house, we having the same amount of water, or we having the same amount of the air. So this is a time we really need to aware. So I was talking about the solution. We don't have to do anything. We don't have to miss school. Certainly we don't have to miss school. We don't have to do any andolan. We don't have to march. The small things we have to do is just to make yourself aware about things. A very interesting fact I'm going to tell you. First, tell me who all are using RO water at their place. I should be rather asking who is not using. So yes, we all do that. Do you know that how many percentage of the clean drinking water we are using? Only 30%. Rest 70% of the water goes waste, where 790 million people in the whole world don't get access to clean drinking water. We waste 70% of our water. So what are we going to start from today onwards? We're going to tell our mommies, we're going to tell our daddies, or we're going to tell ourselves that we're going to smartly utilize that water. Whenever we are stepping out of the house or room, we have to always check that electricity is put down, because it's not important when you're coming back home, you have access to the same electricity. And the biggest solution today I want to talk to all of you is the circular economy. Fancy? No, I don't think so. This circular economy, India has always been practicing. How? I tell you a very small story. I studied initially in Vanasthali, Rajasthan, which is a deserted area. Not much water, life is little dry. But one day, one incident really catch my eyes. What I saw? I saw there was a mother